With Update 2.1, we can finally invite guests to our apartments in Cyberpunk 2077. There's several of these across the game that we can acquire, each with a different style and set of activities. So, in this video, we're taking a look at all of them in detail to figure out which is best. So, without further ado, let's dive right in with number 10. Down at the bottom this time, we have River's Trailer Park Family Home, a residence that unlocks after completing the Following the River quest. Located in the sticks on the edge of Night City, this home is actually a surprisingly spacious one-story place that even has a nice outhouse for River's nephew. We can shower and change here, as well as sleep if we romanced River, but it very much isn't our home. In fact, it's barely even River's, but rather his sister Joss's and her kids. Joss enjoys standing on one leg and pretending to smoke all day, whilst her children either lay in bed and stare blankly at the wall. I mean, thank God we can invite River to ours now, because this place kinda creepy. I always suspected that Phantom Liberty would add a new apartment, but what I didn't expect was that it would be the worst place ever. Then again, that's kind of the whole vibe of Dogtown as a place to live, so it fits. We'll come here with President Myers after the plane rescue and kind of just claim it thereafter. I mean, to be fair, who else in their right mind is gonna choose to live here, apart from these two, who most likely wound up dead one way or another at some point. This all said, Dogtown's presidential suite does boast a couple of amenities. It's got power, thanks to a very loud generator that's gonna be a nightmare to sleep to. It's got stuff that might be useful. It's got space, and hell, there's even a dance floor for us to wave our arms around like nobody is watching. In fact, nobody else is gonna watch, because attempting to invite romantic partners here will be met with a resounding thanks but no thanks because I don't want to die. Which, to be fair, that is probably a sensible answer. And if anyone saw the state of this place, well, I guess we could tell them it was good enough for the president, so it should be good enough for them, and to be fair, the view isn't half bad. We can also smoke, much to Johnny's approval, and we can meditate, which just means kind of kneeling down and looking, and feels entirely just like a Witcher reference. If we come just out into the hallway, there's even some custom tarot graffiti artwork and some piping leading in from the Badlands. And in fact, back in the apartment, these pipes can also be fixed, so then at least we can take a shower. A shower though that's probably going to end in us coming out dirtier than before, let's be honest. Of course, it's impossible to tell if that's the case by looking in this mirror, and I genuinely hope this blurriness is a feature of it being dirty rather than a bug, because that's genius. Also, to get to this one, it's a long elevator ride both up and down, so far from convenient either. So overall, nice to have a place in Dogtown, just not a nice place. Next up, Panam's little tent at the Aldecaldo camp may not constitute a home in the same way even River's place does, but it has something River's place doesn't. Yes, Panam, obviously, but we're not comparing love interests here. Rather, it's got the Aldecaldo vibe, that sense of community and belonging. Drinks around a campfire, chooms playing guitars, a thriving nomadic community, which is a hell of a lot more welcoming and less awkward than imposing on a single mother and her family. We can still shower, albeit slightly more openly. There's a precariously balanced mirror and a clothes rail. The bed might be a bit of a squeeze, but honestly, is anyone going to complain? And on top of the basics, there's also an on-site weapon vendor and a Ripperdoc, as well as various other friendly characters to engage in conversation with, not just Panam. And in the case of an attack, one of the most powerful pieces of military gear just stashed away in the garage. With all this in mind, and the fast travel point being right in the middle, it's arguably one of the best one-stop shops in the game for switching out cyberware and gear at the same time. But whilst it's a cozy vibe, it's far from a cozy home. And I think the best example of this is the shared communal toilet out back, which currently has a guy sat on the floor with his laptop. Yeah, you can tell why Panam's now keen to head to our place sometimes. Up in northern Kabuki, Judy's apartment represents a decently average place in Night City, boasting the same sort of amenities as River's home, just without the extended family in the room. Judy, of course, lives alone, at least now, so visiting doesn't really feel awkward. It's a quirky little place, complete with wall art and tech exhibits that we can even comment on with Johnny. There's a swivel-mounted toilet TV to ensure you never miss an ad at any time of day, and quite a large fish tank, which is kinda cool. Judy may have also mentioned during Pyramid Song song owning a max tag uniform, and she wasn't joking about that. It's here and up for grabs in her bedroom, along with whatever gift we can now send her as part of the new update, either a vehicle or flowers, which she'll touchingly display on her bedside. It feels like Judy as a character too got a bit more character building than River, and that extends into her home, with the number of emails on her impressive multi-monitor setup providing a bunch more cool bits of info to flesh out her backstory. But aside from the basics and being conveniently close to a fast travel point, there's not actually a whole lot of activities to do in here. The lowest ranked apartment we can own that's actually in proper Night City then is the one up in Northside. If you've completed the Flight of the Cheetah gig beforehand, you'll already know that this isn't the safest place to live, but at a cost of just 10,000, you won't find that much cheaper around. And in fact, those who just happen to have 20 intelligence can even hack the system to lease this one for free. And whilst a little on the cramped side, this small space does manage to pack an impressive amount, whilst also not feeling utterly horrible to exist in. I mean, compare it to the suite we get down in Dogtown and ask yourself where you'd rather live. This place has a desk that reminds me of mine, save for that vertical monitor that's kind of terrifying. Also a sofa, a bed, and a hole in the wall looks like, leading to our weapon stash. Though to be honest, I'd repurpose that into a kitchen because sadly here, microwave meals is all you're getting. Heading into the bathroom and looking in the mirror, I also had this genuinely spine-chilling experience.
No, don't believe it.
I don't know if that's new in 2.1, I've not seen it before, but I think it's a really powerful way to again hammer home the urgency of what the relic is doing to us. There's also a Roach Race arcade machine, which for me really makes this apartment, just something in the aesthetic. Though fair warning, the previous tenant did disappear, never to be seen again. Mike Gallick is inquired about in our emails, as his friend Theodore Collins is looking for him. And with the shard on the bedside, it's pretty clear that Mike got in a bit over his head, taking a gig to dig into a member of the Night City Council, and last Theodore heard, somebody was knocking at Mike's door. Basically, don't answer the door to strangers and we'll be fine. Though answer the door we must to each of the love interests we can now invite over. Personally, I think this is a slightly cramped space to chill though, with snuggling on the sofa, showering and sleeping being literally all we can do. There's not even a view to admire here. So props to it as a cozy little cave, and you might as well buy it or get it for free if you can, though it's definitely far from the best on show. So I know functionally Kerry's villa is just the same as all the other romance partner homes, but man, it's a freaking mansion, so it ranks higher. Not only that, but I think the decoration of this place is one of the best examples of a setting being used for characterization in the game. One tour of this place and it's abundantly clear. Kerry may be one of the most successful citizens to come out of Night City, one of the only 3 residents of North Oak, but he's a pretty lonely guy, living in this castle away from the masses, all alone. And this place has everything. A grand piano, a bar, a custom portrait of naked Kerry holding a sword, and everywhere you look, there's no expense spared. Though Kerry could definitely do with hiring a cleaner, and let's be real, he has no excuse not to, leading me to potentially suspect that the mess scattered around is done so to make the place feel more lived in. Indeed, this amount of space, perfectly pristine, lived in alone, it's the opposite of cozy and comforting for me. It could be nice, but only if there's someone to share it with. In Kerry's emails, he's trying desperately to hire a guy as a cook or a gardener, just for some company, and his security robots have got hats, just to give them a little more character. What's more, many of these sun lounges are deliberately arranged in pairs, and they serve as places where Kerry lies all day, reading articles about himself. The guy has a beach in his garden, an erendite on display, and one of the nicest views in the whole of Night City. Security is also fantastic, of course, though one time a group of guys did manage to break in and steal his guitar, which we can steal back for a gig. Hop over this wall though, and you'll find a free Militech Apogee Sandevistan on the ones who failed to escape. One of the best pieces of gear in the game, which they clearly needed to get in and out fast enough, though I was very surprised to randomly find one lying about like this. Maybe it's RNG, but let me know. Overall though, whilst this one is nice and luxurious to come to sometimes, the fact it's a total mess and not technically our apartments rank it no higher than this for me. The Corpo Plaza apartment may be the most spenny place to live at a full €110,000, but that definitely doesn't mean it's the best. Yes, everything has a certain premium feel to it, but again, it's the same sort of soulless expense as Kerry's place. Not that I'd ever complain living here, it's safe with a security gate, spacious, luxurious, and all round a very premium place to exist. It just doesn't feel the same value for money as some of the other ones. One of the neighbours has already sent out an email complaining about window exhibitionists doing adult things in a window opposite, but all that he gets offered as a solution is to instead move to a smaller place with no windows. Corporations, once again, looking out for the customer. Fortunately, we've got a bit of a nicer view into the towering city centre, with a giant, mysteriously engraved statue down on the ground to stare at and ponder the potentially universe-breaking meaning of. Inside the apartment, we have the basics, of course: a shower, bed, mirror, and wardrobe, but also a TV, and a big one at that, along with a fancy record player. Then there's a bar to sit at to smoke and drink whiskey, a tea set to brew the kind of fancy green tea that Mr. Hands offers us in Dogtown, and most usefully, it's got a coffee machine, which when used will grant an extra 5% to stamina regen over the next hour. And it's actually one of the only 2 apartments to come with one of these. Then the office, come weapon room, in fairness, is probably the nicest of the bunch, and it's the only one really to not feel like a forgotten side room or a hole in the wall. Inviting dates over, there'll be a couple more activities we can do in this space that we couldn't do in Northside. Stand and chat or hug by the window admiring the NC skyline, or dance to I Really Want to Stay at Your House in this area by the front door. Just don't dance with River. I mean, come on, what's he doing? I mean, to be fair, dancing is kind of an awkward thing to program into a game. Like in Totem Dance, it really works with all the people, but first-person dancing with one other person when there's no touching, I mean, it's impossible for it not to look forced, to be fair. And I do appreciate what they're doing with the whole immersion aspect of it. But on the whole, for this apartment, I personally prefer the more cozy, less corporate vibes than this. And when it comes to coziness, I think the next apartment is definitely the winner there. At 30k eddies, the Japantown apartment feels like a bit of a steal. This place is at least triple the size of Northside, whilst both preserving and expanding upon that place's feeling of homeliness. We have again another arcade machine of Roach Race. It seems unlike the Corpo apartment, fun once again is permitted here, and further to that, Japantown is the only place to sport a guitar, where aided by Johnny's imprinted muscle memory no doubt, we can jam out to a choice of Chippin' In, Never Fade Away, or Archangel. Though amidst the new update, this is kind of a bittersweet feature to me, since when I invited over Panam in order to show off my guitar skills, this option entirely went away, and we were instead left once again with chilling on the sofa, showering, awkwardly dancing, and finally going to bed. And okay, maybe they didn't have any pre-recorded voice lines to complement V's playing, but come on, that would have been so cool. Even still, at least we can set the vibe a little more in this place by burning some incense, making it smell lovely and nice for our guest to peacefully sit and chill. I'm sorry, what is that noise? Okay, so out in the alley, we have a scav serial killer. Yeah, that explains the lower price tag a bit more. Though in fairness, taking him down did stop the constant noises of someone being beaten up, luckily. So it's back to chilling. And washing up our dishes in the bathroom sink apparently, given the lack of a kitchen one. Unless, I don't know, maybe this surface folds up somehow. Then the office as well is pretty cozy, to be fair. And of course, comes with a miniature FF06B5 statue. Because no, you can't just get a little bit of work done without being reminded of the time you caught a glimpse of the universe's base code after finding a secret in an arcade game. And if that whole thing is causing you trouble sleeping at night, there are some shards dotted about here of deliberately boring stories to send you drifting off. So overall, love the vibe, just be a little bit wary of the area. In my first apartment video, I ranked this one pretty low. I was assessing the places purely on design that time, and compared to many others, this one didn't have much in the ways of character or design flair. But where it loses out on the design fronts, it more than makes up for in just how many features it has that nowhere else does. Pretty much all the collectibles we can acquire through various missions will wind up dotted about in here. We got posters, gifts from romantic partners, a painting from the moon. Misty will give us a dream catcher for collecting all the tarot graffiti, though to be fair I think that is one that does move to other places. There's also a plushie of the troll who distributes new cards and gwents, a trophy stand for the Chimera Core and Scorpion's action figure that reminds me of Dishonored, and also if you missed Lizzie Wizzy's musical number during Phantom Liberty, you can luckily watch it again on a BD recording. Basically, whilst this place doesn't have built-in character, the character comes, much like a real home, from the furniture contained within. The souvenirs acting as memories of events that we as players went through and experienced. Whilst other homes might have just as many little nuances housed within, the nuances in here are special and stand out since they all have a specific meaning to us. In addition, there's probably more character interaction that can be had in this place than anywhere else. And I'm not just talking about our romantic partners. As of 2.0, Johnny will now appear on the sofa anytime we're in here and be available for a little chat. And sure, we can only seemingly pursue 3 paths of conversation with him ever, but it's still nice to have that immersive feature. When it does come to inviting dates over, this apartment also has one thing that none of the others do. And I guess it's down to the positioning of this mirror in particular, where characters can walk in and out of shots, but they'll actually come up behind you and do one of a few things. From a shoulder rub, an affectionate little peck, to recreating an iconic scene between Bo-Katan and Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Yeah, that's a thing that happens now, so I wonder how much that clip's gonna go around circulating. It's also, in fairness, a pretty sweet view out of this window. The Japantown skyline, I think, is the nicest looking one there is, and in fact, just down to the right is our potential future home. Major Leagues really was just a stone's throw away the whole time. But one very big thing, which we again can only get in this apartment, is pets. Both a cat and an iguana. To get the cat, you'll have to first purchase some cat food from a vendor in Night City, then head out the apartment door, take an immediate left, and around the corner to the right, there'll be a bowl in which to leave it. Come back a few hours later, and a wild cat will have appeared. After which, we can take it to its new home, meowing and purring all day in our washing baskets. Again, the character of this place is defined by what's in it, not its design. As for the iguana, that's far less straightforward. During the heist, you'll first have to spot and pick up this pretty obscure iguana egg from Yorinobu's place, then placing it in the apartment, it'll hatch after about 100 days, by which point you'll probably be well into a playthrough and won't be able to enjoy it for that long. Still, reptiles are generally less high maintenance pets than mammals, though I'm sure these two would probably be perfectly fine even if we never came back here. Though when it comes to quickly getting to an apartment, the fast travel points placed just outside the door makes it far easier to do so with this one than any of the others really. Just another reason to buff it up the list. Why isn't it at the top then? Well, in some ways it is, but in my opinion, it still loses a lot of points on the general design front. But before we get to my winner on that, here's a quick honourable mention. Now, spoiler alert for the end of the main game probably, so just jump to the next timestamp if that's an issue. The Penthouse then is our reward after completing the Sun or Don't Fear the Reaper ending path and choosing for V to return to their body. It is by far the most luxurious thing we can technically live in during the game, and it's practically an estate situated on top of a building. A mansion similar-ish to Kerry's and surrounded by a huge plot of high up land, complete with a pool, and yeah, the garden could have some more character, but the interior is nice. And I suppose prior to 2.1, this was the only home where a romantic partner could technically come over, as part of a scripted event for the end of the game. Quite a bit of our memorabilia carries over from the Megabuilding apartments, and it's clear that, like that place, this had become V's main home, where they spent their nights studying every space program under the sun in preparation for the heist of a lifetime. And I suppose I can say that, since the last heist technically wound up in death and rebirth. And we're not the first Night City legends to live here. Indeed, this seems to be the place that David and Lucy moved to after becoming huge successes themselves. I guess V's time here will be pretty short-lived as well, unless things go remarkably excellently. So who knows, maybe this place is cursed, or maybe it's just that anyone who flies too close to the sun is gonna burn and whatnot. Anyway, figured I'd mention this one, but since it's not accessible in the free roam part of the game, it technically doesn't count. So with that, here's number 1. The Glen is available for 80,000 eddies, and whilst definitely not the coziest of apartments, it somehow manages to balance a bit of that with spaciousness. There's a pretty long elevator ride to get to it, but once you do, you'll be greeted with wider views than any other place. Not as picturesque necessarily as Japantown, but now that Dogtown's been fully fleshed out as a district, there's a pretty nice view over to the Black Sapphire and the green light shining up from the Heavy Hearts Club, which kind of reminds me of a Minecraft beloved beacon. Now, a nice kitchen is very important to me in a place, and this one has the nicest of the bunch. Plenty of worktops, a drinks cabinet, and of course, the genuine gameplay utility of a coffee machine. I know this isn't a feature, but if you ever wanted to cook a meal, say with your date, this would be the only one not totally cramped in trying to do that. I don't know, do people still cook meals together in 2077 anyway? There's also a nice corner over here though to chill and read books, or for some more interactive entertainment, Roach Race is also available over here. It's almost a shame that all the apartments only have this game and none got switched out to Trauma Drama or even Arasaka Tower 3D, but there we go, it is what it is, and in fact it was kind of cool to walk in here to find Judy playing it while she waited for us. And finally, unique to this place is a pool table, or a billiards table maybe, where we have the option to either successfully pot the ball or miss and flip off the table. Again, it'd be cool to have a fully implemented way to play a game against our partner, though that sounds like an utter nightmare to implement. Still, if any experienced modders are watching, there's an idea for you. As for the bathroom and office, there's nothing particularly stand out about them, but again, they're perfectly nice rooms that'll be fine for what they're built for. Basically, since the Megabuilding one is owned as part of the story already, there's not really much choice but to live there. Though if the option to buy additional places was limited to just one, if we had to choose singularly out of all of them, then I'd choose this place, hands down. It offers the most stat boosts for one apartment, i.e. shower, coffee and sleeping, is a nice area to chill with a sweet view, and it has Roach Race, unlike Corpo Plaza, which by the way, beating the top score in that game will earn you some special rewards, so you might want to take some time in your playthrough to do that. It's good fun, but comment below your favourite apartment in Cyberpunk 2077 and why, and if I missed any more interesting details on these places, then do feel free to add those in the comments as well. 2.1 has made the game a lot more immersive in general now, a lot of the stuff added makes the world feel more alive, and if you want to discuss anything cool that you found with a group of like-minded chooms, then I'm pleased to announce the launch of my new Discord server, which you can join from my description in this video or channel links. It's of course open to everyone, but if you're a patron, you will get assigned a special rank in accordance to your Patreon tier, as well as of course your name in each video and early ad-free access to content. But with that, I hope to see you on the Discord. Thank you for watching, I'm Bram, and I'll see you in the next one.